Welcome to the Kindle Chronicles. This is a special show I'm putting together because I am online for an event that Amazon is streaming. This is comparable to the new products and services briefing that I attended in Seattle a year ago. And with the pandemic, it is now going to be online. And my plan is to talk to you contemporaneously as the event is going on, to give you my reactions to the news, and I hope to put this episode up tonight, a day early, so that you'll have my take on whatever new products are being introduced. I think there might be a new Paperwhite, possibly. I'm sure there are going to be some Alexa devices. Who knows? Maybe even a robot. So this is pretty exciting. And they're playing attractive music. I've got the video feed on my iPad Pro next to my computer, and I'm going to be talking to you in Logic Pro. And I'll tighten it up as we go along. But 5 minutes to go, and I imagine we'll see Dave Limp. Maybe they'll be broadcasting from the Spheres, where the event was held last year. And I'm looking out at the Atlantic Ocean now. It's nice not to have to travel all the way to Seattle, but there's nothing like an in-person event as well. So I hope you will enjoy the ride, and we'll find out probably in the next hour or so what's the new stuff from Amazon look like. Well, they ran a little Alexa ad with lots of people. Here's Dave Limp.
Good morning. I love this time of year.
He is in the Spheres.
We've been up to. I wish we could do it here in person, but this year things are
okay. Well, I thought I would be interrupting the presentation to talk to you, but it was just too much happening too fast. It was about 45 minutes. That's shorter than I thought, but they covered a lot of ground, and I think there will be some material that I can use to put the show together. Well, today is Friday, and I didn't stick with my plan to put everything up last night. There's just so much stuff to digest, so I've gone over the entire recording, just playing parts of it over enough to really hear what's being said, and I have probably enough notes to fill 2 hours of talking about the show. And I also have a 60-minute conversation with Darlene because I thought it would be helpful to get her take on things, and she asked me some questions, and we were down in the library on that. I think I'm going to begin with that recording, and then I'm going to move through my notes and give you highlights, opinions, things that really struck me in a personal way. There's been enough coverage of this event, I think, in the general media that you can get the basics at The Verge and Wall Street Journal, everywhere else. Lots of other people were apparently on this virtual briefing. Sophie is downstairs barking about something, and so let's get started. Here's my conversation with Darlene I recorded just a couple of hours ago here in Ocean Park, Maine for the Kindle Chronicles, episode 634, and I'm recording on Friday, September 25th, 2020. We are in the library at the cottage, and it has good acoustics because there's a whole wall of books in front of us and a nice rug underneath. Sophie is in Darlene's lap, and we're going to talk a little about the new products.
So, Len, what was the virtual product launch like compared to the one you went to last year?
It was kind of surreal because last year I flew out to Seattle in September, stayed at an Airbnb, and the event was held in the Spheres, which are these big glass dome structures in the middle of Seattle, all full with plants. It's just like walking into the Amazon rainforest. Really beautiful space. And we had a presentation of the new products, and then you had a chance to try them. And this year, the virtual version of it was set in the Spheres, so it was at the exact same place. And in fact, the video, as it began, you're in sort of a drone, and you're flying over the Spheres, so you're looking down at these big glass globes. And then you're in the Spheres with all the vegetation, and then Dave Limp, the devices guy, starts talking. So it was almost like zooming into the place where I was physically last year. And then it was, there were more questions, there was more interaction. There were about 200 people there. I imagine there were probably 200 people on the Zoom presentation that I got an invitation to. So it was much more passive. You were just watching this thing and then trying to figure out the significance of it. And there's been quite a bit of coverage since the event concluded at about 2 p.m. Eastern yesterday. But certainly less expensive, more efficient, and I wonder if the coverage of the event is any different than if it had been in person. I don't know.
But you didn't get to see and hold the products and play with them.
Yeah, and that's a big difference because I think we had a chance to go to a different building and actually try out the products. I remember I get to try these Echo frames that I'm wearing, and it was kind of a madhouse because there's so many people at each station trying to experience them. But that's certainly something we didn't get to do in the virtual.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think of this new Echo Show 10?
Well, the Echo Show 10, if there was just one of the, I don't know, there were probably 10 or 15 separate products they talked about. This is an Echo Show, which means it's an Alexa device that has a screen on it, and we've got a lot of those, and that's what we use when we talk to Dad on video conference. And this one is interesting because it's a pretty big speaker, and the screen swivels 360 degrees. And so it could be facing us right here, or it could turn around and be facing the bookcase. And there are two ways that this is helpful or interesting. One is if you imagine you're in a kitchen and you've got a recipe on the Echo Show, and you're over here on one part of the kitchen and you're chopping something, the screen will see you and will aim itself right at you, so you're looking straight at the screen. And then if you go over to another part of the kitchen to do something else, the screen will just turn so it's always facing you, which is kind of handy. The other use for it would be that if we had one for Dad where he lives, we could put it in the living room where it is now, and instead of it being fixed, aiming at the chair he usually sits in, I could control it with my iPhone. And, you know, if he had fallen down somewhere in the living room or something was going on, I would be able to look not just at that chair, but I'd be able to swivel the camera around so I could see the whole room.
Oh, wow.
Remotely. And this could be something that would be good in, you know, home safety if you were away from your home and you wanted to put one of these devices, like, say, in our living room in Cambridge. Mm-hmm. You could be looking at the front door, you could look to the side, you know, if you just wanted to see how everything looked, you'd be able to control it remotely. Mm. Does that look useful, or what's your first impression of it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, but we already have a zillion of the other ones. So.
Right. We're going to have a yard sale. See, and the other thing that is interesting about this device is there's been talk that Amazon's working on a robot, and I'm picturing that as something, you know, maybe 3 feet high, and it can follow you around the house, or you could remotely say, you know, Alexa, go check in the dining room. And I think that this swivel of the screen is likely what the robot will look like. It's like we're seeing the face of the robot, because just the fact that it can follow where you are, it's like that Jimbo robot that we experimented with briefly. And the fact that it would kind of follow whoever was talking gave it made it seem much more like a human, or a robot that's like a human, than a simple Alexa show that never moved. Do you remember that when we were playing with that thing?
Not too much.
I sent it back. And it turned out it was all it could do, so it wasn't that big a deal. But anyway, I think this was the first look at what a robot might look like.
So tell me about the Always Home drone camera.
Well, this one has generated a lot of talk, because what it is it's essentially a drone, and it's indoors, so that there's like a charging base, and then the drone sits on it. And if you are remote, like say we had it at the house in Cambridge and we were up here, and we wanted to see, well, did we leave the stove on? You would just either talk to it or somehow control it from your iPhone, and it would lift off and it would fly through the dining room, take a left into the kitchen, and then look around. Right, huh? I mean, pretty crazy. And so And then there's something even crazier about it. I got to show you this. We'll have to try.
Can you imagine if Sophie was home and we did something like that?
I know. And as it's flying, it's recording video and it's beeping. So it's like this beeping thing flying through the air.
You're gonna love this.
Oh God, it's true. It's true. And see, this is Ring, so it can be tied to like the alarm that would show an intruder coming in. So this is a little story here. So he's breaking in. Alarm goes off. Drone lifts off. Guy watches on his iPhone. Sees the guy.
Oh, no.
The guy says, "Oh no," as the drone comes at him. A little loud.
Does it call the police too?
No. I imagine the alarm system can call the police. So it's called the Always Home Cam, and it's going to come out sometime next year for $250. And people are freaked out because, my gosh, what if somebody could take control of it and fly around your home and take pictures, the whole security aspect of it. I think they've got a lot of protections against that you can handle. But what do you think of just the idea?
It's just wild. I just keep thinking about Sophie.
She would it would be a way to give her a workout when we weren't there.
God, she'd
just
barking
she could chase it all around the house.
chasing it, and wow.
I think that it's from what I've read about it, you can't actually drive the drone remotely. When you set it up in your house, you create a map of your house so that it would explain, this is the dining room, this is the den, this is downstairs. And so on the controls, you would simply be able to say, fly to the downstairs. So you're not actually kind of navigating it and trying to keep from hitting the walls with it from, 1,000 miles away.
I see.
It's not like actually running drones from the CIA headquarters in Virginia.
And it'll dodge dogs as it goes, huh?
I think it's supposed to, dodge different stuff. And I guess if you're breaking into a house and you saw a drone coming at you, you probably would run.
I don't think I would. I think I'd probably try to grab it.
You'd probably just have a baseball bat ready to go.
I mean, you think about it. If you could grab it, and then you could stop the thing that had a picture of you.
Yeah, but by then it would have had a picture of you as it's coming towards you.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, too crazy.
It's the future.
So the Echo Show that's just audio, how come they've changed the shape of it?
Well, I think that it looks nicer. In other words, this is the basic Echo now. It's like a canister. It's got fabric. It's nicer than the original one, which is so tall. And the new ones are just round. It's like a round ball that has the sound, and you talk to it the same way you would Alexa. And then there's a little one called the Dot that's also round. That used to be like a little hockey puck thing. And I think it's a combination of the aesthetics. It just looks nicer, and then it probably has better audio quality, I would think. It almost looks like the kind of a fortune teller's ball. It has the blue light shines at the bottom when it's listening. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that looks attractive or
no?
No,
not really.
You like the canister better?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's worth paying more money to get a round one.
No, well, it's the same one. It's the same cost, so I don't think you'd be replacing one of these with one of those.
Right. No, I don't really think it's attractive at all, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I do like the blue light around it.
Yeah.
That you can see when it's you have a blue at the top of this.
Yeah, this has a blue light around the ring.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
That's handy just because it's listening. But,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that turns is more interesting than that.
Right.
So now for the big question. Which of these new gadgets have you ordered?
Well, actually, I ordered the new Echo, the round one, twice, as it turned out. But then when I got ready for this, I realized my mistake, and I deleted one order. So I only ordered one of them. And there's a thing where you send them, you say, please email me when I can buy an Echo Show, the new Echo Show 10. So, and I think that'll probably come in the next few months. That'll just give me a chance to try that one where the screen moves around. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And at this point, there's no chance to say, tell me when I can buy the Always Home Cam So I'll just be watching it. It's going to be available sometime next year. I think they were kind of jumping the gun a little to show it, but sometime probably the first half of next year they'll go on sale, and we'll definitely have to try one.
Wait, so which one's the drone?
The drone is
The Always Home Cam.
Always Home Cam.
Okay, so we're not getting that. We won't be having the drone anytime soon.
No, there's no drone. We'll be living drone free for the next few months.
Sophie, do you hear that?
I think she's going to like it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then there's they have another thing. It's Ring alarm, and it can detect if somebody's in the neighborhood or near the house, and it'll start barking as if there's a dog in the house.
Oh, and then she can bark back at it.
Exactly.
I'm not sure we need that.
Right. So, well, thank you. That gives me a chance to talk about the highlights. And
Good.
do you have any other impressions of the news?
Well, I can't wait till they have a drone that I can send out to watch the dog, so I can put her out in the backyard, and if something tries to get her, the drone will come down and stop
Fight
it.
off the
and
fox.
if she gets out of the yard, the drone will send out a message and fly above her head. Put out a honking sound, stop cars.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, it could be great. I mean, dog owners everywhere would buy it.
They have an expanded thing called Sidewalk, Amazon Sidewalk, which is like extends the Bluetooth range of the house. So when that's up and running, the drone could just follow her all through the neighborhood.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It could be the drone walking the dog.
I think of it more as the drone protecting the dog.
Right, yeah,
So
fighting people off.
our dog is kind of like Houdini. She can get out of anything.
But she'd spend the whole time running along barking up at the drone. It would be confusing.
Yeah, it would be.
All right.
Okay, well, this was fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
I want to thank Darlene and Sophie for helping me out on that segment. What I've done to organize the rest of the notes that I took in listening to the presentation again is I've come up with 11 points, and these are going to be like little chunks or nuggets of impressions that I want to talk to you about. And I'll just give you the titles of each of these 11 that I've outlined. One is the Ambient Home. 2 is sustainability. 3, progress on Echo hardware. 4, Echo for kids. 5, AI conversational improvement. 6, doubling down on security in smart homes. 7, the new Care Hub. 8, lots of products by Ring. 9, privacy. 10, Fire TV. And 11, Fly Me to the Luna. So we'll just get started, and I'll take each of those nuggets and let you know something about it that I hope will be interesting. So first one is the Ambient Home. This is a phrase which kept occurring in the presentation, starting with Dave Limp, who's the head for devices and services for at Amazon. He talks about the Ambient Home saying things like this: we believe that our homes are made better by technology that you don't have to learn, that works well for everybody whenever and whenever you are. To us, this is the definition of an ambient home, and voice is a big part of that. He pointed out that a majority of customers use Alexa from more than one device. That was kind of interesting. When I heard that word ambient, it sent me to the dictionary, and it means of the surrounding area or environment. It doesn't necessarily mean audio speaking to Alexa all the time. It just means that your computing power in the home is all around you. And there was a talk about it may mean less speaking, and that will be the home will understand more about you, anticipate your needs, and be more contextual. And this would involve things like routines and knowing when it's the right time to turn the thermostat down and the lights on. Second, sustainability. This was given a prominent place early in the program, and I learned some things that I didn't know. Amazon has taken a climate pledge, and the goal is to have 100% renewable energy by 2025, and they're 5 years ahead of the original schedule by shooting for 2025, and they're aiming to be net zero carbon across the entire company by 2040. they're made a commitment to deal with Echo and Fire TV devices in a way that they're made out of all sustainable materials. And then there's a focus on the energy use in the home. It's not just the use of making the products and disposing them. They're aware of how much electricity do these devices use in the home. And on average, more than half of the total carbon footprint of devices actually comes from when they are in use. So what Amazon is doing is adding a low power mode for all plug-in Echo and Fire TV devices, and there will be free over-the-air updates to enable low power mode in existing devices. Also coming is going to be an energy dashboard for Echo and Alexa smart home devices, and Alexa will use this to suggest ways to save energy. They are also building new wind and solar farms to match the electricity used by Echo devices, and they're going to expand that to match the energy needs of all their devices over the next several years. So in other words, they sell these devices, there's more energy use, they're putting that much energy back into the grid from solar and wind power. They're hoping to be a model for other consumer electronics companies to take on some of these kinds of goals in the area of sustainability. That brings us to topic 3, and that's progress on Echo hardware. This is in the context, there's progress on using the cloud, which we'll get to in a moment, but there's also constant effort to improve the devices themselves. And the Echo Redesign, which I mentioned in talking to Darlene, it's a round shape now, but there are also new aspects to it. There's a built-in smart home hub in the basic Echo. That's the $100 Echo. Currently, you get that only if you buy an Echo Plus, which costs $150. So the smart home hub, I remember trying to hook up a door lock that had Zigbee protocol, and I couldn't get it to work because at that point I didn't have the smart home hub. But the idea of the hub is that more and more devices can kind of seamlessly sync with it, and it makes the whole smart home easier to install and get working. They're also working on the speed. They're talking about these new Echo devices shave hundreds of milliseconds of response time. This reminds me of the the constant effort to shave a little width and a little weight from the Kindles. From the original Kindles, it was pretty easy to start making them slimmer. As you get further and further into the lifespan of these products, it's hard to shave an ounce from a Kindle, and it's probably hard to save 100 milliseconds of response time from an Echo device, but it really matters. I think that we get so used to how quickly these devices answer, and if the next generation of the hardware is answering just a little bit faster, I think part of us realizes it, and there's it's a smart thing for them to work on, because we're constantly getting adjusted to what's normal, and if something comes on it's even a little better than that, then there's an effect on it. There's a new chip. Some of this was kind of over my head. The AZ1 chip has new neural speech recognition models. All of the commands get answered more quickly because of things that they're doing kind of under the hood of the Echoes. The Echo Dot is also round. That's $50. You can get that with a nice clock, a digital readout of the time on the side of it for $60, and you can tap it to snooze. There were some fun things that they did with the Echo Dot Kids Edition, which is also round, and you can get it in the shape or the decoration of a panda or a tiger, and there are kid-friendly responses. One thing which is part of this is the rollout, and some of these things they announce and they didn't say it's here immediately or if it's coming, but one that I thought was pretty cool was Alexa voice profiles for kids. And what this does is when you get into this mode for kids, if I'm thinking of my grandsons, Ryan and Jake, who are 6 and 4, if they had one of these kids Echo Dots in the room, they could talk to it. That's fine. It's all kid stuff. But if they go through the house and they talk to one of the Echoes in the rest of the house, the Echo is going to recognize that it's not an adult. It's not my daughter Rue or her husband Mike. It's Ryan or Jake, and that will result in content which is aimed at kids and speaking kid-friendly responses, no explicit lyrics in the music that it plays, and I just think that's pretty cool. And I tell you, these grandsons of mine, they are talking to Alexa all the time, and they talk, and I'm surprised that Alexa can understand them because they talk like very young kids. And with this system, when Alexa hears that voice, they're going to know they're talking to a kid, and she's going to respond appropriately. That I thought was pretty neat. There was a really interesting, kind of dense part of the presentation given by Rohit Prasad, who is vice president and head scientist for Alexa. I believe he's based in Cambridge in Kendall Square. I met him once just briefly at South by Southwest, and he's really kind of the guru for Alexa and has thousands of people working in that area. So they gave him a chance to talk about his vision for Alexa, which is pretty simply making it as natural to speak to Alexa as it is to speak to a human. And, this reminds me of, the Kindle vision from the start was to have every book ever published in every language available for download in under 60 seconds. It's really bold, audacious goals. And that's the kind of goal that Rohit is pursuing with his group, to actually have these devices sound just like we're talking to a human. That brings them digging pretty deeply into what is human communication like. And he pointed out that one of the things we do is we ask clarifying questions. If somebody says something, we'll follow up. And this is now something which Alexa is going to be doing. If you tell Alexa, stop, that's wrong, she's going to detect that there was an error, and then she's going to use something called deep feedback surge to automatically correct those errors. And he was announcing today, as of yesterday, a step further for self-learning is giving the customers the ability to teach Alexa. Alexa will now ask questions to fill in her learning gaps. Rohit gave a demonstration of this. He was in an office. I'm pretty sure he could see the Cambridge skyline in the background. And he asked his Alexa to set Rohit's vacation mode. And Alexa responded, "What do you mean by Rohit's vacation mode?" And he said 60 degrees. And she said, "Well, I will remember that." And then he had another one about the brightness of the light setting. So it was actually sort of a conversation in which Alexa was learning things that she would be able to use again in the future. The next time he said Rohit's vacation mode, she was going to know what that meant from that particular customer. This uses, he said, a set of deep learning base parsers, if I heard him right, to figure out which part she's having trouble understanding and then generating a clarification dialogue. This is pretty sophisticated stuff. This is where linguists and engineers are probably talking to each other just to figure out how to bridge this gap between AI listening and humans. Another part of this desire to have the communication sound human is how Alexa responds, and he said there's going to be changes in how she responds based on conversation context. She can change her tone, she can stress certain words, pauses, and breaths, and that's made possible by neural text-to-speech technology, and it's coming in the coming months. He gave a demonstration of kind of a flat Alexa response, and then one in which there was modulations. Oh, you want to hear this? Well, let's play this. It just sounded more human in the actual speaking style of Alexa. The third area that he talked about was even more mind-boggling. It was conversations, and this is where you can have an Alexa device join a conversation with two other people. And there's the competence which he was announcing yesterday is called natural turn taking. And this is based on an awareness that Alexa is not always the one that is being spoken to. If there's multiple people, then Alexa is trying to decide when it's her turn to participate in the conversation. The demonstration of this was two women talking to each other and wanting to order pizza, and they began it by saying, "Alexa, join our conversation." And she says, "Okay, let's talk." They say they're hungry. They mention pizza, and she says, "Well, there's good pizzas at Mike's Pizza." One of the women says that one in response to what she's seeing on the screen. This is an Echo show. And then they go to, "What movie do you recommend?" So it was obviously a scripted conversation, but it was showing some capabilities that are coming to have this kind of conversation with Alexa that were fairly impressive. The part of the ability of this particular device, the Alexa Show, which does have a camera, it was reading acoustic signals, linguistic signals, and visual signals to determine when one or of these women was actually talking to Alexa, and then that's when the Alexa would respond. So these are... I find these kinds of innovations and advancement fascinating, and I love the scale of the ambition that this group has, and I'm sure that they'll just going to keep relentlessly pursuing it with all kinds of resources. This is one of the things that Jeff Bezos has realized is a big hit, and when they put this kind of resources in it, 5-10 years down the road, if someone were to talk to Alexa the way she is now, they think, "Oh yeah, remember when Alexa sounded like that," compared to the much more human-like conversations that we're going to be having in the future. That brings us to topic 6, which is doubling down on security in the smart home. This was a section of the program given by Daniel Rausch, VP of Smart Home. He noted that there are 140,000 products that interact with Alexa in homes, and he expected that we will be speaking to Alexa less because of things like routines and detection of sounds like broken glass or footsteps or doors, which will trigger various activities by the system. He said that more than 2 million people have registered for Guard, which is a service which gives essentially monitoring through Echo devices and then responses which can be helpful. As a result, they use that phrase doubling down, and that is leading to a service called Guard Plus, which it will cost $5 a month, and there'll be 1 month free. This has 24/7 access to emergency hotline, hands-free emergency access, and detection of different kinds of sounds that might generate a need for security or emergency response. This is the pattern that Amazon has, and they give a signal to it when they talk about customer reaction to this has led us to double down on it. They mean exactly what they say, that this Guard capability of the Alexa, that was something new. I remember this coming out in the last couple of years. Well, apparently it's really hot, and people like it, and people are willing to pay for it, and therefore they're moving a lot of chips into this kind of activity within the smart home that Alexa will be able to help out with. Topic 7 is the new Care Hub. This is something that I'm interested in because we have such... I just have such gratitude for the way I can stay in touch with my father during the pandemic. He's 93, living in an apartment, and I can drop in on him with the Echo Show. He's got a favorite chair that in the living room, and each day we just have a chance to have some wonderful conversations. There are now... this Care Hub is a way to create a high-level relationship with a family member, is the way it's described. So if you had somebody like my father, somebody who was very close and perhaps living alone, you can set up ways to monitor and listen in a helpful way, and obviously a way that is approved of by all parties taking place. They showed an example of a notification that was coming in from, it said Care Hub Alert, like a text message, I guess, maybe coming in on the Alexa app. And it said, first Alexa activity on Mom's Echo Show. So what it had done is it had detected that there was some activity on one of the Echo devices by an elderly mother, and then there was an option to call her or to drop in. I like the sound of this because I've had to, one thing that I've done with Dad is he shares my Amazon account, and that way I can drop in on specific devices in his home. And I've always hoped that there would be a way to have separate accounts because I see messages that are showing up as reminders on his Alexa system, and he's seeing things on his screen that I'm doing. So I'd rather have my own Amazon Alexa device or account set up, and I think there'd be advantages for him. So I'll be taking a look at this new Care Hub to see if there's ways to do that. Emergency contact is another part of it. If a person that's using it says, Alexa, help, Alexa will find, in this case, the son. If he's in his kitchen, she'll talk to him there. If he's on the phone, so there'll be a very quick way to alert a family member that someone needs help. Pretty good stuff. Topic 8, Ring, acquired by Amazon a couple of years ago. The president of the company was standing out in front of the original headquarters for Ring. Just a dizzying amount of products. 19 products introduced this year, over 10 million monthly active users on the Neighbors app, and then talked about the one that I talked about with Darlene, the Always Home Cam. She also mentioned 3 car security products that will be available early in 2021. One is a $60 car alarm. Another is a $200 car cam. And then there's Car Connect, and that's an API for cars that will tap into their existing camera systems. And I was excited to see that Tesla is going to be the first car that will be set up to be able to use Car Connect. So if I get that, there'll be I'm having this kind of Ring system that sends me alarms to my iPhone if something is going wrong with my car. Topic 9 is privacy, and this is a concern which frequently greets new products that Amazon pushes out. The Washington Post proved how independent it is of its owner by a pretty snarky column by Gregory Fowler, and it was just basically saying that Amazon's stuff is creepy. Okay, when we make these changes and more information gets put out, the one thing that I always am surprised at is why someone can get upset about something that an Echo Show is doing when they're carrying around an iPhone in their pocket, which is tracking every move you make, and if it could easily be hacked to send information, start recording you or whatever. And yet we've gotten comfortable with that because iPhones are just part of our daily life. When these new products show up and they're, a drone flying through the house, it's understandable that there would be concerns about privacy. And Amazon is aware of this. Some of for example, when they were talking about the Echo Show 10, that's the one where the screen moves around. Well, it has to be watching the person to tell where they want to be aimed, but they're not using facial recognition. It was pointed out they're getting sort of an understanding the human form enough to be able to tell, well, I think there's a human over there, so that's where the screen is going to go. And the other thing, which I believe it was Dave Limp mentioned, is that the technology for the Echo Show 10 is all running locally. It's not in the cloud, so the information that's guiding this screen moving around never leaves the device itself. One thing I point out in passing, that there's a much better camera in this new Echo Show 10. It's a 13 megapixel camera compared to a 5 megapixel camera on the current Echo Show, which costs $270, and the new one's going to be costing $250. The other aspects about privacy, they've got a new thing. I'm not sure if it's available yet or it will be soon. You can give a command, Alexa, delete everything I've ever said. So Alexa stores information from what we've said. You can go in and see all the questions you've asked Alexa. It's all transparent there. But if you're just uncomfortable having those questions available in the cloud to anyone, you can just say, delete everything I've ever said, and then you can have that be the default so that going forward it will delete everything you say as immediately after you've said it and given the command, and it's been acted on by Alexa. Fire TV devices were mentioned. Over 100 million have been sold. One thing which I hadn't seen and I wished they would do, they're now going to have, and that's video conferencing by Fire TV. I guess you'd need a Logitech camera, then you could put it up there. But I think that'd be great. You know, on a nice big TV screen, it would be fun to drop in on my father with his Echo show and maybe have a whole living room full of people visiting with him. So I think that's a nice advance. There's a new Fire TV stick with Alexa voice remote coming, 50% more powerful, same price. And then there's Fire TV Stick Lite. It's a little simplified, the controller, and that's $30. Well, $29.99. Last item, number 11, is Luna, and this is a game streaming service. I think I'm going to try this out. You know, I'm a real dabbler when it comes to video games. I can remember when the Microsoft Xbox 360 came out, I started playing Halo, and I'd never played video games as a kid, but it was just intriguing to me that Microsoft, the computer company, was getting into gaming, and it ended up being a pretty big thing. Well, now Amazon is getting into a certain kind of gaming, and it's gaming that where a lot of the action is taking place in the cloud, backed up by Amazon Web Services, AWS. There will be a controller, the Luna controller, and it's going to be available. You can put in a request for early access. It'll cost $50 to get it. And then that controller will connect directly to the cloud, not to a local service, or you're not going to have to pair it with your iPhone or anything like that. It just connects to the cloud, and then when you've got the Luna channel or the Luna Plus channel, you'll be pulling games down and playing them seamlessly from the cloud. They showed some nerdy-looking gamers trying the system out, and they were, delighted with it. Said, "Man, it's just so smooth, and I don't have to wait for the video game to download. It just starts up immediately, and it has some kind of interface with Twitch, which is Amazon now owns Twitch, and it's a huge platform where people watch people playing video games. It's just like a whole world I don't know that much about, but it's you're going to be able to watch people playing a game and then kind of drop in on the game via Luna and switch from playing on your Fire TV or your PC or your phone or your tablet, and all of it just kind of portable. It seems like it's a portable game platform. So I put in my early request, and I will have a Luna controller, and maybe there'll be some kids' games I'll be able to play with Ryan and Jake and my grandson James, who's 14. At the end of the presentation, Dave Limp came back and said, the team has been really busy. We've got AI in all of our products, and our goal is to help out in the home and just fade into the background. Thank you so much for your time. We can't wait to see what you all think. Now, this is addressed to the journalists who are covering the event virtually. And I love the thought that as I was sitting here watching my computer in Ocean Park, there were, maybe 200-300 other journalists from all around the world doing the same thing. When I was there last September, I sat next to a woman who'd come from India to cover the event. So there was a lot of money saved in travel by everybody having a chance to drop in on this event in real time virtually. That's it for this week. I've got next week, David Blum is going to be our guest. He is the editor-in-chief at Audible. He's had a long career at Amazon, starting out with taking over Kindle Singles very early and after it was created, and he's done a lot of interesting stuff. So I'm looking forward just to finding out what sorts of things he's doing at Audible, creating original content, and he made kind of a bold move, leaving a traditional New York publishing career, ending up at Amazon, and I think it was 8 years ago, maybe more, but it'll be fun to talk to David. And then I think the week after that, I've got Dean Koontz queued up. I'm reading his book Elsewhere, and I'll be talking to him a week from today. So I've got a lot of reading to do. It's a good book. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the Amazon devices preview held virtually yesterday. And if you head to Amazon.com, you'll see the information on which of these products you can pre-order or request information on when they become available. And you can be sure, though, except for some of the ones like the indoor drone will be available for the holiday season. And Prime Day, I think I saw somewhere, is coming up on mid-October, so there'll probably be some specials there as well. This is Len Edgerly for the Kindle Chronicles from Ocean Park, Maine. I really appreciate your taking the time to listen to my show. Have a great day. Bye.